What's up, Gaming Rebellion, and welcome to Game Revolt's Rebel Yell Gaming Podcast, where we talk about what's going on in the gaming world and share our thoughts for changing that world for the better, putting indie developers and gamers first. My name is Dirac, joined by our head honcho and Game Revolt's founder, Isaiah, and we'd love for you to join us as we have real conversations and navigate the industry. So, let's get into it. But first, a quick thank you to our community of rebels for tuning in. What's up, Gaming Rebellion? My name is Dirac, co-hosting here with Isaiah.
Yes, sir.
And today we wanted to go over a topic having to do with in-game currencies in gaming.
Yeah, so the Norwegian Consumer Council, they've proposed a ban. They want the EU to ban virtual currencies in-game. So this council, they're a government agency that advocates for consumer rights and protections in Norway, which you'd think wouldn't have too much of an effect on us, but some of their crusades against big tech have actually played a role in making changes here in America. For example, they've advocated against Apple and Google for their privacy practices as far as refund policies, taking third-party payments and whatnot. So they advocate for these things in EU, and out of fear of that coming here to America, they just preemptively apply those conditions here. So this ban that they're proposing here in the European markets may have an effect. May have an effect for us. Now, I'm not much of a mobile gamer. I know that's where usually you see these virtual currencies, but what are your thoughts?
I think it's interesting that they're making this move, being that a lot of games today, they earn so much money for their respective countries with China and Norway and other countries. So the fact that they're going to these lengths to basically what they're saying is they're trying to protect their consumers by increasing transparency of these practices that they use in games. And if that truly is their full intent, then I completely respect it. But at the same time, I feel like there's a different motive behind it. I'm sure the thing is with the in-game currencies, you can't really regulate it because it's like with these companies, when they make their games, it's like their own world. They can do what they want with it. And right. With the premium currencies and whatnot, they basically say, hey, if you spend money on this banner, you can get these characters, but you have to have a certain amount of premium currency. So like in that way, you're basically saying that you're exchanging, well, that's literally what it is. You're exchanging your money for their money, which is only usable in their ecosystem. But the problem with that is, say if their game server is shut down and that's it, you get no refunds, you get nothing back, your money's just gone, and right. It is what it is. I will say with mobile gaming in particular, that's their claim to fame for the most part. Like any game that you pick up these days, like they're gonna have their banners. Specifically with the gacha gaming, forget it. It's just you throw your money at it. They'll give you big shiny banners with their cool looking characters, and they'll say, hey, you want this character? You're going to have to spend this amount of money. We'll give you this amount of premium currency, whether that be diamonds, gems, whatever they call them. And you're not even necessarily buying what they're offering, the character, the items, or whatever. You're buying the chance or the opportunity to get that specific thing that's being featured or offered.
Right.
But I will say, as time has gone on with the different games that I've played, a lot of games have been becoming a little more transparent. Like I look at some of the bigger games like Genshin Impact or their Honkai
Star Rail
and Star Rail. They use the same models, but one thing I do like that they do that some games are starting to adopt is that at the very least when they're offering characters, they give you the opportunity to try them out, because that's another factor you have to consider is even though this character looks cool and you might want them on your roster, would they even fit on your team? Would you even like to use them? So
Mm.
like it kind of gives you an option, but that's like just one separate thing you could technically go into.
Yeah, see, I don't play a lot of gacha games, so I don't really understand how that ecosystem works. But for me,
Mhm.
I played League of Legends for years,
Mhm.
and one of the issues that I had was you don't really know how much money you're spending on a skin. So you have to buy RP. Their I don't even know rune
Their
points.
premium
I
currency.
don't know what it
Mhm.
stands for. Yeah, their premium currency.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, whatever bracket of RP you're buying is never you can never get just enough to get the skin you want. It's always like you buy it. You have to get the one that costs a little bit more to get what you need. So you don't. It's hard to see exactly how much you're spending. And then once you buy the skin and you have that little bit more is useful for absolutely nothing. You can't do anything with it.
Mhm.
So then it's like, well, I don't want to just have it wasted, so I might as well buy some more RP. So it's that lack of transparency and not being able to really assess how much you're spending,
Right.
and this difficulty in being able to track how much you're spending too,
Mhm.
that I really don't like.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because when I see it personally, I think of how uh a lot of these companies are trying to do the or try to put all their money behind live service gaming
Hmm.
because they want to be able to keep you in their ecosystem. So they basically give you what you want, or basically show you what you think you want, anything to basically just keep you with them so that they can continue to get your money. I feel like on a smaller scale, this is what other companies try to do because they're not on that same level. They'll take their games and they'll create these opportunities where you can continue to give them more money. And the bigger and brighter and more cool looking the banner is, the more likely you are to spend your money on it. So that's what they do. That's what they invest in. And that in and of itself, I don't think is like terrible, but the way they go about it sometimes it's just contributing to a larger issue. I know for the most part that's anyone who might have gambling addictions for one.
Yeah.
For the other thing is you have children. Children will see some of these things and all they see is like, "Ooh, I want it." They go to their parents, whether or not they give them the money for it. It's another topic altogether. But it's like you have people from all walks of life who have access to what you created and they're willing to give you money for it. I would hope that you would have something in place where you could actually you would at least give them something of value that is more than just giving them some kind of stake in that particular game,
Hmm.
because again, like if the game goes down, like you're just out of luck. That was it. You had the opportunity. I'm sure you had fun. Maybe you didn't, but the money's gone. Like that's it is what it is. But
Yeah, consumers don't have that protection.
yeah.
According to the report, they're urging lawmakers to one, ban the sale of premium virtual currencies so that
Mhm.
consumers can know exactly what they're spending their money on.
Mhm.
Two, consume consumer protection through default settings. So they want to mandate that games have default settings that protect consumers, such as disabling features designed to prompt spending. Just by default, you log into the game and it's just flashing the store at you, and oh
Right.
look, this is on sale, yada yada.
Right.
Um, and three, which is kind of interesting too, is a ban on hidden algorithmic systems. So prohibiting the use of undisclosed algorithms that manipulate players' economic behavior within games. I kind of that part's a little scary to me because then it's like, how does that exactly work? I know for certain games, I love Town of Salem,
Mhm.
and I know every time you log into the store, it'll tell you like, oh, we have this big sale on this specific on their premium currencies, and they'll show you that you can use that to buy, and then it highlights different skins. So I'm wondering if that these hidden algorithms, are they designed to show like what specific skins you're into. I know also in League of Legends they have this thing called Your Shop, where every once in a while they'll host sales that are tailored specifically towards you. So it's like specifically towards champions that you play, which I think to me is actually pretty good because I mean those are things I'd rather see stuff that I want to buy than champs that I have no interest in. I don't know. What do you think about these the recommendations that they put out?
Honestly, like I definitely see where they're coming from, and it makes me want to think of what the alternative options would be. And the one thing that comes to mind, which probably seems obvious to like most of you guys, is just you get what you pay for. So instead of having that premium currency in the game, you basically see what they have to offer. All you have to do is spend the amount that they're posting, and you get exactly what you're paying for. For that, I completely agree with, because like you said, it's like I don't want to throw money at something and I get a skin or whatever it is that I didn't even want in the first place. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to, if I'm going to put money into something, I want what I want to come back to me. So I know with having these practices put in place where they don't have the shop in your face as soon as you start the game, that would be a good start. Because more often than not, when I see that, when I'm trying to play the game and like 7 to 10 screens of different promotions for the game
Right.
hit me in the face, like I start to lose interest immediately. And then it's like I don't even want to play anymore, because like if I have to do this every time I log in, like I'd rather play something else. But that's just me.
Right.
But
Right.
I know they put a lot of work into that, and they want to be able to make money back on the game creation and being able to maintain the servers, which is another thing, because I know hosting the servers costs a lot of money. And this is one way they can make up for that, is by getting you to spend money. And what better way for you to spend more money on their game than to create these offers where you're consistently throwing money at them, and they reap the benefits. And again, with the I'm like focusing on the gotcha systems, but with the gotcha systems, like you're just going to continue to throw money at them. They do with it what they need to or what they want to, while you're just paying for the opportunity to potentially get what you want. So like they win, and you're not really getting much in return. I know some people don't really care about that. You know about whales
Yeah.
who they do what they want with their money. If they want something in the game, they will spend as much money as they feel is necessary to get what they want. And more often than not, they will get just that, but at what cost?
Yeah.
I
So
guess.
I think this is more towards like you do have people like that will spend money. They don't care. It doesn't
Mhm,
matter to them. But I
mhm.
think it's more so the people that they are spending more money than they think they are, and I think that's what they're
Mm,
trying to protect against.
I see.
So they came up with alternatives in case that a ban is not implemented.
Hmm.
Transparency requirements. Developers must clearly display real world currency equivalent next to the virtual currencies.
Okay.
So you again you being able to see exactly how much you're spending. Right of withdrawal. Amend consumer rights laws to allow players to withdraw from purchases of virtual items and currencies. That one I'm
Okay.
not too sure on. Um
Okay.
what they mean.
Hmm.
Flexible purchase options allow consumers to buy the exact amount of virtual currency they need rather than predetermined bundles. I really, really wish that this would be the case because again, it's really annoying that they sell it in bundles of 500, but the thing I costs 800.
Right.
It's like, well, what am I supposed to do with that extra 200 when I buy, the two 500 packs?
Right.
So yeah, I really like these ideas. Will these get passed? We'll see.
Hmm.
What do you think? Is this enough? Should they do more?
I mean, I think they've already done enough just by bringing up awareness, and I'm sure uh, some people, you're always going to have some people who are not going to be crazy about the idea, because it just means that you would technically, I guess you could say, would be restricting their ability to do what they want with their money in that case. But at the same time, I think that some of these protections should be put in place because not everybody is at the same level. Some people, they truly do have an issue with spending money on stuff, and they don't have the means to do so. I'm not saying that it's the country's job or anyone else's job to protect them from themselves, but you also shouldn't have these systems in place that prey on people like these. And that's exactly what this does. Again, like if you choose to spend your money on it, like that's what you want to do. Like I'm not saying anything. Like I spend money on if I think the game is worth it. If I think if I'm willing to waste money on stuff like this, like I have no problem with doing that. But I know what my limits are, and I know that if it comes right down to it, I'll delete the game if I have to. But again, like these protections would be, I think, would be a welcome change. The one that you mentioned right there, where it's like you buy these bundles, they incentivize you to pay for them by offering like extra stuff with the bundles, but the value doesn't exactly match what you're looking for if you're just trying to get the one thing, and it's not enough to even get that, but you get all this other stuff that you weren't going to use in the first place. It's like, who is that for?
Right.
But
Right. This
yeah.
reminds me kind of it's just giving the consumer more information, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's like having the nutrition facts on your food.
Mhm.
You know, you know that this food is a piece of junk, but
Yeah.
once you read the facts, you can say, "Oh wow, this is actually really bad. There's too
Right.
many calories and too much sugar in this," and
Right.
you can be just more aware of it,
Mhm.
right? So I do think this is a good thing. Now, one of the last things on here, which might be a bit more controversial,
Mhm.
is they want to ban in-game advertising for premium currencies in games accessible to individuals under 18. So
Mhm.
uh, minors can't have can't be advertised this currency.
Okay.
For gacha games and whatnot, I think that would be probably a killer. What do you think? Again, I don't play those games.
Uh, to be honest, I guess you could make it work if you, again, if you give them enough value for, I guess, for free, like with kids or just anyone under 18. Like a lot of what brings them or drives them to the game is like the cool looking characters or the gameplay mechanics. Like you look at Fortnite, you see the characters with the dances and stuff. They see that, and I'm sure, like, of course, like that's what they run towards. Not just kids, but like anyone who's interested in that. And
Right.
if you were to take away the premium currency that allows you to access those things, like it would definitely hurt them in the long run. But again, if they developed a way that they would give you those same items or whatnot for free. I don't know. They would have to try to strike a balance because then they literally have to, while they're marketing to both sides of the fence, they want to be able to retain the larger population of people that are playing their games, as well as keeping their other population who was already spending money to continue to spend money. So they would have to find a way to kind of strike that balance. I don't know if banning the in-game ads would be a good idea. Like you said, I think it would kill a lot of these games that are out here right now. I think one restriction at a time just to see how it goes, and then as time goes on, if they feel the need to add more restrictions, that's another thing. But I definitely like the idea of just being able to know exactly where my money is going, what I'm spending it on, and just leave it at that. But
Right.
yeah.
In game in games that are accessible to individuals under 18, it's like, well,
Mhm.
what game does this not apply to? Because I'm not sure. Are there any rated M games that have these currencies? Not that I'm aware of.
I'm sure there are. I have no doubt that there are. If they're able to use the same formula to create these types of games, and they have M-rated games with like special skins and stuff, there's no reason why they wouldn't. Because again, they have to host a lot of these games on servers and whatnot, and they have to make their money back somehow. But
Is Nikkei rated M?
I don't think it's rated M, but it's definitely, maybe it is actually. That's a good
I,
question.
I actually I actually kind of want to look that up.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna find it, but yeah. So to me, that just sounds like it's almost a blanket ban on in-game
Mhm.
in-game advertising if the criteria is anything accessible to individuals under 18.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's rated 13, 13 and up. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it definitely sounds like it's just like a blanket regulation type thing that they're trying to do, and it also makes me wonder if they they they're starting to recognize the potential issues with gaming now. Now they're starting to pay more attention. It seems like, I don't know when this started, or if this is just a movement that is beginning now, where they're like, hey, no one's been checking games because no one's been, taking it seriously, basically. So
Right.
it makes me wonder how far it's going to go, because, like you mentioned in the beginning, they're trying to push this in Norway right now, but it can very easily make its way over to the States. So this could affect us one day, and then it's just a matter of how much are we willing to put up with. Like, I definitely don't like being restricted with a lot of what I do, but at the same time, I understand. I can be understanding, and if it makes enough sense, like, I won't really care too much about it. But I mean,
Yeah. I mean, look, they changed Blizzard's entire model, right? They
mhm,
were advocating against loot boxes, and
right,
in Overwatch, they got rid of loot boxes, and you see a lot of games now that don't do that anymore, and they are more towards this battle pass system. So even though the law hasn't changed here in the States, it still
mhm,
does affect us
right,
in one way or another. And
right,
to be honest, I know everybody was upset about loot boxes, but I didn't really have too much of an issue with it.
mhm.
But I enjoy gambling, so I can't really talk. But
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, with the loot boxes, it's like, it's just going to be a random chance, and whether or not you want to spend money or premium currency on it is whatever you want to do. So it's like, I was kind of the same mindset. It's like, you kind of knew what you were getting into when you were like getting a loot box, so it was whatever for me. But
yeah, especially in Overwatch's case, because I not one time bought a loot box. I never felt compelled to,
hmm,
but I always enjoyed opening them just to see
yeah, see
what
what
am I
you
gonna
get.
get this time. Yeah,
Yeah, they
I don't know.
probably
Maybe it was
count
like a
on that.
little event.
Yeah, it kind of like brought a little I don't know what the word is, but it's like a little bit of excitement. It's like, oh, I wonder what
Right,
it's going to be this time. And sometimes you would luck out and be like, oh, damn, this is really cool. But I'm sure that's what they try to do,
right.
try to
And I'm not
facilitate.
advocating for loot boxes at all.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't really care one
yeah,
way or the other.
no,
But
yeah. If you give it for free, it's one thing. It's like, all right, cool. But other than that, I don't care.
yeah, that was the thing. I thought Overwatch gave a lot of loot boxes for free.
Hmm.
At least initially, I didn't play too much in the later stages, but
Yeah.
it was enough that I felt that I didn't actually need to buy one.
Right. No, it's like the base game was enough in and of itself. It's just you play, and that's one thing I will say that I enjoy with games that use the system, is just not loot boxes, but in general, when you're playing, you don't have to buy anything or pay anything. I guess you could say pay to win mechanics. So, like, with Overwatch in particular, like, you have the option for the loot boxes, but you didn't need them. Like, you can unlock the characters as you move along, but if you wanted like a certain cosmetic, it's a different story. For as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm able to play the base game and I'm not pushed to pay anything extra in order to help me progress in the game or give me a leg up, then I'm happy. That's just me. I just don't like when they offer anything that kind of gives you like a boost over other players unless it's for convenience. That's really the only thing I prefer to focus my money on. And cosmetics to a certain extent. If I see something like really cool and it's a good enough value that I know I can get it,
Hmm.
then I'll go ahead and I'll put money into it, especially if I think the game is good. But I've become a lot more what's the word? I guess, strategic as I've gotten older when it comes to gaming, because I know they can prey on you. I know that they try to get their money out
Right.
of you.
That
So
you're aware of their tricks and
yeah,
whatnot now, as
yeah,
before you
yeah.
were just go along with the flow. I want to try to play devil's advocate here.
Hmm.
You know the game companies are going to fight against this. They're
Hmm.
going to lobby so that this does not pass.
Absolutely.
What argument can they make?
Well, one argument they can make, although they can end up shooting themselves in the foot with it, is that they probably bring a lot of revenue to their respective countries. Like I know China tried to do something similar and ended up not. They tried to put it through, and what was it?
They lost like $80 billion in
Yeah,
market cap from their gaming companies.
yeah, that's what it
Just from
was.
the thought of it. Forget actually implementing it.
And when they saw that, they were like, never mind.
Exactly.
But that's like one argument that these companies can say is like, listen, we bring this much revenue to the country. Do you really want to do that? Because you'll end up cutting out like a lot of that money that you could have access to. But in saying that, they could strike a deal with these gaming companies and say, well, listen, we'll back off, but you have to pay much more than you have been paying. So would it be worth it if that were the case? That's just one thought that I have with that.
Yeah, so I guess money talks, so that's probably, yeah, that could be an argument. But
Mhm.
how do you argue against
Just
hiding the price behind these currencies?
I mean, I guess in our case, being that we're here in America, they can argue, oh, that's un-American. You're trying to restrict their rights to spend money on what they want to buy or whatever. Basically, taking the spotlight off of themselves to say, that they're using these practices and more towards, oh, they're just trying to restrict your freedom. That's all that is.
So like a slippery slope thing, like, oh, if they start with regulating this, then, who knows where else we're
Right.
going to go with it.
Exactly. At least that's where I think that they would go out originally. And then from there, if they were able to look through that BS, then they could probably use the argument that, well, hey, if you force us to restrict our tactics or however they want to phrase it, you're going to be cutting into our livelihood and we won't be able to, again, they could segue into making revenue for the country. What I guess
Yeah, I
money.
think the
Yeah,
economic impact is probably going to be the strongest argument, at least to
right.
me. We've already seen the crazy number of job losses within the gaming industry.
Yeah.
There would be a lot more
Yes.
if the whales weren't able to.
Be whales.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I agree. But it's definitely an interesting topic. But yeah, like I said, like I don't mind so much if something like this were to come to the States and they were to try to restrict the companies in order to protect the consumer. I think it's noble to a certain extent, but it's just a matter of how much are they willing to do or how far are they willing to go, because if they overdo it, they'll shoot themselves in the foot. Um, I don't really know. But yeah, I'm not against it.
yeah. I'm not. I actually I hope it passes. I hope it makes changes for us here because, like you said, as
Mhm.
I'm older now if I see some currency, I have a calculator open and I'm trying to do the math
Yes.
myself, and that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Trying to make these conversions and whatnot.
Right. Because the other thing is like they like to use their small print and whatnot. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, summon this. Just pay $20 and you can get this character." But then like you have to sit there and be like, "Wait, it says you can get this character." Then you look at the fine print, and it's like, "Oh, you have a 0.83% chance to draw this character if you have this much of the currency or whatever the case is." And it's like it's all a whole thing. But yeah,
Actually, that is one good thing that again I think this was I want to say the Norwegian Consumer Council helped bring forward was putting the chances
hmm
or saying that the companies need to put what are the actual chances of you obtaining
yes,
the item you want.
yes,
So that's good. It doesn't seem like it stopped anybody from buying, but at least you have the information, and I think
yes.
that's the most important thing, is giving the consumer the information and empower them to make the decisions they feel comfortable making.
Right. I totally appreciate that because it's like you said, going back to the nutritional facts on food. It's like back when I was a kid, I didn't care. I would eat whatever. Now that I'm older and they have this available and where they show even the calorie count, the front of the packaging now, where they'll
Right.
show you how much calories is in each serving, and then how many servings are in the actual package. Truly do appreciate that, because now I'm trying to eat better, and I never would have guessed half of these things that I eat are actually crap, even though they're branded as something that's healthy.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's the same thing that can be applied to this. It's just like, oh yeah, this is good for you. If you do this, you pay this much, you can get this, and you'll really want that. And yeah, I think they at the very least need to be a little more a lot more transparent with what they're trying to do, because at the end of the day, if the game is good enough, you'll pay for it. I would think, at least. I know I will. Like, if I think that the game is worth spending money on, I'll do it, just as a thank you in and of itself, to be like, you know what, this was really good. I don't mind spending a little on this.
You see,
But
making a good game is hard to do. So
Mhm.
putting these strategies in there is
Mhm.
almost like a pay to win thing. It's
Yeah,
these strategies work,
right.
and you don't have to sit down and think about how to actually make a good game. You just implement these strategies in there, and the money rolls in.
Right. And I'm sure a lot of them work too, because a lot of these games that I find and play, they're basically like carbon clones of each other. Some of them borrowing from IPs, which I would love to figure out how they get away with that. Like, I see some like Naruto clones and Digimon that are not actually Digimon or Naruto, but they
Oh,
just call it something else.
I actually saw this game that getting off topic, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this game that is a Power World clone. It's so crazy how much it looks like Power World. How it took like the exact art, the attacks and stuff, the
Really?
whole using. Yeah, it is completely shameless, but so was Power World.
Right.
So hey, that's just the world we're in now. But hey, you have anything else you want to say on this topic?
Uh, about this topic, nothing else comes to mind, but it's definitely an interesting topic. You guys definitely, tell us what you think as far as in-game premium currency and transparency with microtransactions go.
Right, and as far as this ban on in-game ads to for games that have minors in it, I'm curious what other people think about that. So I think that'll about do it for today.
Yep.
Direct,
Cool,
take us
cool.
away.
All right. Well, it's been fun talking to you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.
Well, that about wraps it up for today's episode, Rebels. Don't forget to subscribe and stay informed on all things gaming. We've got some exciting projects coming up, so you won't want to miss what's next. We'd like to thank you again for tuning in and joining the rebellion. Until next time, happy gaming.